Dad knocked on the mayor's door before entering. Enter. The mayor sat at a large table reading over some papers while Pitch stood to her side. Ah, perfect timing, Trevor. We were just discussing what to do regarding the phone line. We can't seem to get a call out, which is worrying. Yeah, what happened to the rest of the world? Kinda strange. It seems contact to the other towns will be impossible. But first, let's hear your report. About that, I'll give it in a second. Did something happen? Spit it out. Both the mayor and Pitch were sharp people who quickly caught on to things. They probably could tell instantly that something was wrong. Evan, go ahead. Me? Really? I had to tell them? Why? I thought that was I thought that was your job as my dad. I can't read today. I stared down at the floor. I really didn't want to do this. To tell a mother that her children were dead. Well, unfortunately you bear some responsibility in this. This is too much. Evan. But Dad just continued to prod. He wasn't gonna let me run away from this. Mrs. Cadenza, I have something important to tell you. Your children, myself, Sierra and Riker, we all decided to force our way into the exploration team, and after swiping a walkie-talkie from my dad, we went into the woods. They listened intently, trying to decipher where I was going with this. While we were in the woods, a wolf attacked us. Pitch's eyes sharpened. I think she had figured out what I was going to say next. We got separated from Reed and Tone. They told us not to worry about them and to make sure we got back safely to town. So that's what we did. I feel so bad about... I shouldn't have... I was interrupted at the sound of the glass in her hand falling to the floor and shattering. I jumped. I looked up at her, but she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at my dad. Officer Kogan, what are you going to do about this matter? What do you mean? Dad seemed a little lost. Do you believe this bullshit, is what I'm asking? She thought I was lying? It's the truth. Nonsense. We have no wolves living around here. This is not the right area for wolves. Let me give you a little tip. Her eyes focused on me. They were like the wild animals. Her eyes focused on me. They were like wild animal cornering some helpless prey. Okay, I kind of see where they're going with that. When you lie, at least make sure your facts match up. She turned away from me and looked at Dad again. Now, Officer Kogan, I'm going to ask again. What are you going to do about this? Are you going to arrest this murderer? Your son? Or are you going to once again use your status to let him go off free? Wow. Are you going to let a murderer go free? I think you like to jump to conclusions rather quickly there, Pitch. My eyes went wide. I couldn't believe what I just heard, what she had accused me of. I didn't kill them. The retort came out instantly, and with biting vigor. Silence, you lying scum. Just ask Riker and Sierra. Oh, I will, but first I want to make sure your dad is on the side of justice. So what will it be, Officer Kogan? Is this a single murder charge? Or is it abuse of your status to defend a murderer as well? Yeah, she really doesn't have any evidence to back this up, only implications. Good point. I didn't kill anyone. I turned towards Dad. You believe me, right? Pitch, I'm gonna hold my judgment until I get all the facts. If my son does turn out to be a murderer, I'll make sure he gets punishment. Oh really? I find it hard to believe, but I'll take it for now. Let's ask the other two witnesses what they saw. Pitch frowned and briskly walked past my dad and myself. The door slammed behind us. Trevor. I know, Mayor. A wolf. It is far-fetched, but I want to believe in my son. Dad put his hand on my shoulder. I believe you. Yeah, this is just a whole big mess. I mean, we do know from their past experience that Evan has a history of kind of picking on Pitch's children. so you can kind of understand where her bitterness comes from, but it's jumping to conclusions at a time when we really should be taking care of something like this. Sierra, Riker, and myself all sat in chairs with the 3 adults in front of us. Alright, we just want to find out what happened in the woods. Please tell us what you know. Well, we were walking through the woods and we heard a scream. We headed towards it and then found 3 bodies. They were... I don't want to think about it. Yeah, it is rather odd that she seems to be more mad about the fact that Evan's lying than about her kids being dead. Like, she didn't even really, like, show trauma at her kids being dead at all. She just immediately was like, oh, what are we gonna do about Evan? Kinda strange and a bit suspicious if you ask me, right? The 5 of you were together at this point in time, right? What happened next? Yeah, we were together. Reed, Tone, and Evan continued on. Riker and I stayed behind. Only Evan returned, but I don't think... Thank you. Pitch cut Sierra off and turned to Riker. I predict your story is the same? He nodded. Evan? Alright. What happened after you and my children went on ahead? I already told you. She pounded her fist against the desk. Tell us again. This was stupid. I didn't kill anyone. We found 2 more bodies and talked to my dad through the walkie-talkie and then... Officer Kogan, is this true? Yes, Evan contacted me. That's right, you heard Reed talking to me, didn't you, Dad? Sadly, Dad shook his head. I'm sorry, Evan, I didn't. Was everyone against me? Why was no one defending me? Anyway, continue. What happened next? Yeah, it kind of reminds me a bit of Ace Attorney at this point, doesn't it? Good point. We heard a noise, and then we continued to shine our light towards it. We saw a black-colored wolf. It began to chase us, and then Tone fell. Reed rushed back to save her and ordered me to go on. I left them. I left them behind. I let them die. I stared down at my hands. How could I do that? Why did I do that? I let them die. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left them. I'm so sorry. Because of me being afraid? Because I was a coward? Tears were falling from my eyes and hitting my hands. I'm so sorry. A likely story. You know, Pitch can be a real bitch. I know it's cheesy, but I have to say it. I stared down at the floor. Why was this happening? Was this some kind of punishment for leaving them behind? My son is torn up about this. Don't... Quiet! Your son is alive. My children are dead. You will be quiet. Not when you're accusing my son of killing them. I could see the sparks flying from the glares Pitch and Dad gave each other. She smirked and giggled a little before turning back to me. You didn't like my son, right, Evan? You got into fights with him all the time. I remember one was bad enough that the police and hospital had to get involved. Yeah, I'll admit Reed and I didn't really get along, but I wouldn't kill him. Oh really? Sierra, I seem to remember one time, not that long ago, don't you? Sierra tilted her head down, obviously confused. Wait, are you talking about that? Yes, I am. I remember it well. I'm sure you 3 will also remember it once I jog your memory. We got into an argument of our own due to it, Officer Kogan. Dad glared at Pitch. What are you getting at? Dad's tone was starting to sound like a growl. Did he know what this was about? When I had to get a police protection to watch my son for a short while, due to the threats your son and Riker made. My eyes widened. That was what she was getting at. That was a joke. We didn't really mean anything. We weren't actually gonna kill him. Yeah, this is kind of the part in the game where you kind of see why all that stuff in the beginning of the game with the character being a dick kind of comes into play. Because it kind of comes to bite him in the ass here. Threats are no joke. They didn't actually do anything, so the matter was forgotten within a few days. But maybe now your son decided he finally had the chance. Why? Why? I made those threats in jest. I meant no harm. I just wanted to scare him. It bothered me how unfazed he was all the time. Stop. Let's see if I can remember the words. I'm sure you do, don't you, Sarah? She nodded. They were saying how they wanted to beat his brains out and stab him until he died from blood loss. Well, that is a bit over the top, Evan. I don't know why you would say something like that. That's going a bit far. He made us mad all the time. We just got into a scrap with him, and he was kicking the tar out of us. It was just a heat of the moment thing. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Mayor, clearly you can see that Evan has enough motive to want to kill my son. He had threatened to kill him in the past, and now with this, he had opportunity. This isn't going well. I didn't, and I wouldn't. Sierra and Riker saw the wolf too. They can tell you that it exists. Uh-oh. I think we might have been a little too overconfident with that statement. I stopped cold. They weren't saying anything. Why? What was wrong? Why weren't they speaking? Come on, speak up. Guys! We didn't actually see anything. Evan came out rushing and told us to run, saying that the wolf was behind him. But we never actually saw anything. There was nothing behind him. I don't know. I don't really like the wording you went with there, Riker. Maybe you could just said that you didn't see anything? Not that there wasn't anything. That's just a bit too condemning for my tastes. There was nothing there at any time. There wasn't even the noise of anything behind him. What? What were they saying? It was right behind me. I saw it. How could they not? They were lying. Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point that this isn't a court. It's not really like this should be a place where you're making these accusations and trying to hold this kind of mock trial. Unfortunately, kind of with the way things are going already in this game, we can kind of see how society's breaking down already at this point. And fear and paranoia are taking hold of rationality and common sense. Guys, why are you lying? A wolf living in our woods is close to impossible, in fact. Wolves don't live around this area. I was in shock. What are you saying? You saw it. Stop lying. What was going on? Why was this happening? Why was everyone against me? Officer Kogan, I think the answer is clear. Your son murdered my son, and most likely my daughter as well, and is now blaming it on a wolf that does not exist. After all, direwolves have not been seen in these parts for thousands of years. Hold it, Pitch. No, you hold it. No, neither of you are Phoenix Wright, so neither of you can hold it. You've been defending your son all this time, when the answer is clear. You just don't want to admit it. You can't see your son as a bad person because you love him. Open your eyes and arrest him. He is a murderer. I'm afraid I have to side with Pitch here, Trevor. The information and witness reports seem to suggest your son might have done something to them. Yeah, might have. Not exactly a, I like that. This is my favorite episode, The Twilight Zone. Yeah, pretty much, this is what I said before in one of the, I think the podcast. It's the episode called, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. If you've never seen The Twilight Zone or that episode in particular, be sure to look it up because it's a classic about witch hunts and McCarthyism. Mayor! This can't be happening. This is a joke, right? I'm gonna be convicted of murder. I'm going to... I turn to Sierra. Sierra, surely you don't believe this. I'm sorry, Evan. I've seen how aggressive you get when it comes to Reed, and I just can't believe a wolf exists in our area. It just doesn't make any sense. Look outside. We're living in a perpetual night. How is a wolf appearing so weird? Yeah, I gotta keep things in context of what's going on around us, seriously. I'm sorry. Reed and Tone, they are my friends. So if I just have to... I'm sorry. Oh, the episode of, once again I'll repeat that, the episode of The Twilight Zone was called The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. And it's a classic, and everyone should see that. This was crazy. I looked at Riker. Riker, buddy. You know me. You... Evan? I don't know. What? What does that mean? You think I killed Reed? You were the one who kept spouting all the threats about Reed after we were apart from him. You even made those plans on how you could kill Reed in the treehouse. Those were just jokes. Then why didn't you get rid of them? I don't know. Clearly you still harbored those feelings of resentment. I wouldn't kill Reed. I understand justice. My dad's a cop. My sister's trying to be a lawyer. That doesn't actually mean anything. I wouldn't break the law that extreme. On the contrary, it fits even more. You know that you can get away with it. What defenses to use, what to cover up, and what actions to take. I wouldn't kill Reed. How many times do you have to say it before you're happy? Apologies for murderers mean nothing. Only justice matters. No. Why? What did I do that was so bad? Well, you know what you did. You're kind of a dick and now you're getting into trouble for it because of your reputation. I mean, you didn't do it, but unfortunately, you're not cast in the best light by the past. Why? Why? No one believes me. But I want to believe in your son. What? Mayor! However, I have to act in favor of Pitch's deduction. Then why's the matter? I'm finished. But I want to give Evan a chance, since he is your kid, and if you trust him, I want to too. I trust him. He wouldn't kill someone. He might commit small crimes, but murder's not something he would do. Alright then. Mayor, this is... Silence, Pitch. She turned her gaze towards me. Evan, I'm going to give you this chance. You need to find some proof that this wolf exists and bring it back here. You have 1 day. 1 day? That's it? You'll get a group to go into the woods with you. They will assist you and also watch you to make sure you don't try anything. This was a nightmare. Officer Kogan, please handcuff him and put him in a holding cell for the moment while we get the escorts ready. Yes, Mayor. Dad walked me over and slapped a pair of handcuffs on me. He then began to escort me out of the room. I'm sorry, Evan. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't know why I did that in a female voice. I'm sorry, Evan. But yeah, I just read another good point. Apparently her glasses keep disappearing and reappearing. I actually didn't notice that in the video myself. I guess I'm a bit distracted reading the lines, but I'll have to pay attention next time that happens. I sent a sharp gaze at Riker and Sierra as I passed them. Traitors. Well, I don't think they're necessarily traitors. They didn't see what you saw. So, you know, they're trying to give honest testimony here. I wasn't about to just wait around for them to escort me into the woods. Who knows what they really had planned with that. As soon as I was left alone, I began to get to work trying to pick the lock on the room I was locked in. Oh yes, Evan, you always come up with the greatest strategies.